Good morning and happy Monday. We are back for another week of getting through this Bible, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. So we are here. If you don't know, if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Um, if you're new to my channel, my name is Melissa, and I have been reading through the Bible every day, 20, 30 minutes, so that you can get your word in. I can get my word in. I don't do any studying. I don't do, any breaking down, going through. I just literally read through every day so that you can listen, get your word in for the day, and then you can go back and study and, go through it again if you would like. But just a way to make sure you get your time in with God on your way to work, getting ready, whatever the case may be. We are currently in First Kings. Yeah, First Kings. I have gone through from Genesis up until First Kings. It is in a playlist, so you can play all the way through, catch up, re-listen, whatever you want to do. I use the Daily Life Bible. It's my favorite one to read just to get an initial understanding, just because it is so easy and just kind of they use, the wording is just a lot easier to understand. And again, for the first time reading through, it's always, for me, it's always the best one to go through initially. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you hear noise in the background, that's my dog upstairs making noise. Um, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Lord, I thank you for this day, God. I thank you for bringing us here this morning or whenever this is being watched. Lord, I pray that you bring those who are looking for to get closer to you, looking to hear your word, God. I pray, Lord, that you bring them to this channel, bring them to this video, Lord, that they may use this as a tool to grow closer to you, to get to know you more, to learn your word, God. And I just pray healing and blessings over all those that are watching, Lord. Have your way. Let your will be done. And God, I thank you in advance. Thank God and amen. And we ended right here at 16. So I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And we're going to get started. I'm going to start here, although I do think I stopped there, but we're going to start here. In the third year of Judah's king Asa, Baasha, Ahijah's son, became king over all Israel. He ruled in Tirzah for 24 years. He did evil in the Lord's eyes by walking in Jeroboam's ways and the sin he had caused Israel to commit. The Lord's word came to Jehu, Hanani's son, against Baasha. I raised you up from the dust and made you a leader over my people Israel, but you walked in Jeroboam's ways, making my people Israel sin, making me angry with their sins. So look, I am about to set fire to Baasha and his household, and I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam, Nebat's son. Dogs will eat any of Baasha's family who die in the town. Birds will eat any who die in the country. Now the rest of Baasha's deeds, what he did and his powerful acts, aren't they written in official records of Israel's kings? Baasha lay down with his ancestors and was buried in Tirzah. His son Elah succeeded him as king. But the Lord's word came through the prophet Jehu, Hanani's son, concerning Baasha and his house. It concerned everything evil in the Lord's eyes that Baasha had done, angering the Lord by his actions so that he would end up just like the house of Jeroboam. The message was also about how the Lord attacked Baasha. In the 26th year of Judah's king Asa, Elah, Baasha's son, became king over Israel. He ruled in Tirzah for 2 years. Zimri, his officer, who led half the chariots, plotted against him. Elah was at Tirzah getting drunk at the house of Arza, who had charge over the palace in Tirzah. Zimri came, attacked, and killed Elah in the 27th year of Judah's king Asa. Zimri succeeded him as king. Once Zimri became king and sat on the throne, he attacked all of Baasha's house. He didn't spare anyone who urinates on a wall, whether relative or friend. Zimri destroyed the entire house of Baasha in agreement with the Lord's word that had been spoken by the prophet Jehu to Baasha. This happened because of all Baasha's sins, as well as the sins of his son Elah, and because they caused Israel to sin. They angered Israel's God, the Lord, with their insignificant idols. The rest of Allah's deeds and all that he did, aren't they written in the official records of Israel's kings? In the 27th year of Judah's king Asa, Zimri became king. He ruled in Tirzah for 7 days. The army was camped at Gibbethon in Philistia. They heard the news. Zimri has plotted against the king and killed him. Right then, in the camp, the whole Israelite army made their general, Omri, king of Israel. Omri and the entire army then went up to Gibbethon and laid siege to Tirzah. When Zimri saw that the city was captured, he went into the fort of the royal palace and burned it down on top of himself. So he died. This happened because of the sin Zimri had committed by doing evil in the Lord's eyes and by walking in Jeroboam's ways, and the sin he had done by causing Israel to sin. The rest of Zimri's deeds and the plot he carried out, aren't they written in the official records of Israel's kings? At this time, the people of Israel were split in two. One half of the people followed Tibni, Ganath's son, making him king. The other half followed Omri. Omri's side was stronger than those who followed Tibni, Ganath's son. So Tibni died and Omri became king. In the 31st year of Judah's king Asa, Omri became king of Israel. He ruled for 12 years, 6 of which were in Tirzah. He bought the hill of Samaria from Shemer for 2 kikars of silver. He fortified the hill and named the town that he had built thereafter Shemer, the previous owner of the hill of Samaria. Omri did evil in the Lord's eyes, more evil than anyone who preceded him. He walked in all the ways and sins of Jeroboam, Nebat's son, because he caused Israel to sin. They angered Israel's God the Lord with their worthless idols. The rest of Omri's deeds and his powerful acts, aren't they written in the official records of Israel's kings? Omri lay down with his ancestors and was buried in Samaria. His son Ahab succeeded him as king. In the 38th year of Judah's king Asa, Ahab, Omri's son, became king of Israel. He ruled over Israel and Samaria for 22 years and did evil in the Lord's eyes, more than anyone who preceded him. Ahab found it easy to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, Nebat's son. He married Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, who was the king of the Sidonians. He served and worshipped Baal. He made an altar for Baal in the Baal temple he had constructed in Samaria. Ahab also made a sacred pole and did more to anger the Lord and the God of Israel. To anger the Lord, the God of Israel, than any of Israel's kings who preceded him. During Ahab's time, Hiel from Bethel rebuilt Jericho. He set up its foundation at the cost of his oldest son Abiram. He hung its gates at the cost of his youngest son Segub. This fulfilled the Lord's word spoken through Joshua, Nun's son. Elijah from Teshbe who was one of the settlers in Gilead, said to Ahab, "As surely as the Lord lives, Israel's God, the one I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain these years unless I say so." Then the Lord's word came to Elijah, "Go from here and turn east. Hide by the Cherith brook that faces the Jordan River. You can drink from the brook. I have also ordered the ravens to provide for you there." Elijah went and did just what the Lord said. He stayed by the Cherith brook that faced the Jordan River. The ravens brought bread and meat in the mornings and evenings. He drank from the Cherith brook. After a while, the brook dried up because there was no rain in the land. The Lord's word came to Elijah, "Get up and go to Zarephath, near Sidon, and stay there. I have ordered a widow there to take care of you." Elijah left and went to Zarephath. As he came to the town gate, he saw a widow collecting sticks. He called out to her, "Please get a little water for me in this cup so I can drink." She went to get some water. He then said to her, "Please get me a piece of bread." "As surely as the Lord your God lives," she replied, "I don't have any food, only a handful of flour in a jar and a bit of oil in a bottle. Look at me. I'm collecting 2 sticks so that I can make some food for myself and my son. We'll eat the last of the food and then die." Elijah said to her, "Don't be afraid. Go and do what you said. Only make a little loaf of bread for me first, then bring it to me. You can make something for yourself and your son after that. This is what Israel's God, the Lord, says. The jar of flour won't decrease, and the bottle of oil won't run out until the day the Lord sends rain on the earth." The widow went and did what Elijah said. So the widow, Elijah, and the widow's household ate for many days. The jar of flour didn't decrease, nor did the bottle of oil run out, just as the Lord spoke through Elijah. After these things, the son of the widow, who was the matriarch of the household, became ill. His sickness got steadily. Wait, after. Oh, the son of the. Okay, sorry, I read that wrong. Let me read it again. After these things, the son of the widow, who was the matriarch of the household, became ill. His sickness got steadily worse until he wasn't breathing anymore. She said to Elijah, "What's gone wrong between us, man of God? Have you come to me to call attention to my sin and kill my son?" Elijah replied, "Give your son to me." He took her son from her and carried him to the upper room where he was staying. Elijah laid him on the bed. Elijah cried out to the Lord, "Lord my God, why is it that you have brought such evil upon the widow that I am staying with by killing her son?" Then he stretched himself over the boy 3 times and cried out to the Lord, "Lord my God, please give the boy's life back to him." The Lord listened to Elijah's voice and gave the boy his life back, and he lived. Elijah brought the boy down from the upper room of the house and gave him to his mother. Elijah said, "Look, your son is alive. Now I know that you are really, wait, and now I know that you really are a man of God." The woman said to Elijah, "And that the Lord's word is truly in your mouth." After many days, um, okay, I'm going to read this chapter. After many days, the Lord's word came to Elijah. It was the 3rd year of the drought. "Go, appear before Ahab. I will then send rain on the earth." So Elijah went to appear before Ahab. Now the famine had become especially bad in Samaria. Ahab had called to Obadiah, who was in charge of the palace affairs. Obadiah greatly feared the Lord. When Jezebel killed the Lord's prophets, Obadiah took 100 of them and hid them, 50 each, in 2 caves. He supplied them with food and water. Ahab said to Obadiah, "Go throughout the land and check every spring of water and every brook. Perhaps we can find some grass to keep our horses and mules alive so we don't have to kill any of them." To search, they divided the land between themselves. Ahab went one way by himself, while Obadiah went a different way by himself. While Obadiah was out searching, suddenly Elijah met up with him. When Obadiah saw him, he fell on his face. "My master," he said, "are you Elijah?" Elijah replied, "I am. Go and say to your master, Elijah is here." Then Obadiah said, "How have I sinned that you are handing me, your servant, over to Ahab so he can kill me? As surely as the Lord your God lives, there's no nation or kingdom where my master Ahab hasn't looked for you. They would insist he's not here, but Ahab would make them swear that they couldn't find you. And now you are commanding me, go and say to your master, Elijah is here? But here's what will happen. As soon as I leave you, the Lord's Spirit will carry you off somewhere. I don't know where. Then I'll report to Ahab, but he won't be able to find you. Then he will kill me. But your servant has feared the Lord from my youth. Wasn't my master told that I did Wasn't my master told what I did when Jezebel killed the Lord's prophets? I hid 100 of the Lord's prophets, 50 each, in 2 caves. I also supplied them with food and water. But even after all that, you tell me, say to your master, Elijah is here? Ahab will kill me." Elijah said, "As surely as the Lord of heavenly forces lives, the one I serve, I will appear before Ahab today." So Obadiah went to meet Ahab. He told him what had happened. Then Ahab went to meet Elijah. When Ahab saw Elijah, Ahab said to him, "Is that you, the one who troubles Israel?" Elijah answered, "I haven't troubled Israel. You and your father's house have. You did as much when you deserted the Lord's commands and followed the Baals. Now send a message and gather all Israel to me at Mount Carmel. Gather the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table." Ahab sent the message to all the Israelites. He gathered the prophets at Mount Carmel. Elijah approached all the people and said, "How long will you hobble back and forth between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow God. If Baal is God, follow Baal." The people gave no answer. Elijah said to the people, "I am the last of the Lord's prophets, but Baal's prophets number 450. Give us 2 bulls. Let Baal's prophets choose one. Let them cut it apart and set it on the wood, but don't add fire. I'll prepare the other bull, put it on the wood, but won't add fire. Then all of you will call on the name of the Lord your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers with fire, that's the real God." All the people answered, "That's an excellent idea." So Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose one of these bulls. Prepare at first, since there are so many of you, call on the name of your God, but don't add fire." So they took one of the bulls that had been brought to them. They prepared it and called on Baal's name from morning to midday. They said, "Great Baal, answer us." But there was no sound or answer. They performed a hopping dance around the altar that had been set up. Around noon, Elijah started making fun of them. "Shout louder. Certainly he's a god. Perhaps he is lost in thought or somewhere, traveling somewhere. Or maybe he is asleep and must wake up." So the prophets of Baal cried with a louder voice and cut themselves with swords and knives as was their custom. Their blood flowed all over them. As noon passed, they went crazy with their ritual until it was time for evening offering. Still there was no sound or answer, no response whatsoever. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come here." All the people closed in, and he repaired the Lord's altar that had been damaged. Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the Lord's word came, "Your name will be Israel." He built the stones into an altar in the Lord's name, and he dug a trench around the altar big enough to hold 2 seahs of dry grain. He put the wood in order, butchered the bull, and placed the bull on the wood. Fill 4 jars with water and pour it on the sacrifice and on the wood, he commanded. Do it a second time, he said. So they did it a second time. Do it a third time. So they did it a third time. The water flowed around the altar, and even the trench filled with water. At the time of the evening offering, the prophet Elijah drew near and prayed, Lord, the God of Israel, Isaac, and the Lord of pause. Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant. I have done all these things at your instructions. Answer me, Lord. Answer me so that these people will know that you, Lord, are the real God, and that you can change their hearts. Then the Lord's fire fell. It consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the dust. It even licked up the water in the trench. All the people saw this and fell on their faces. The Lord is the real God. The Lord is the real God, they exclaimed. Elijah said to them, Seize Baal prophets. Don't let any escape. The people seized the prophets, and Elijah brought them to the Kishon brook and killed them there. Elijah then said to Ahab, Get up, celebrate with food and drink, because I hear the sound of a rainstorm coming. So Ahab got up to celebrate with food and drink. But Elijah went up to the top of Mount Carmel. He bowed down to the ground and put his face between his knees. He said to his assistants, Please get up and look toward the sea. So the assistant did so. He said, I don't see anything. 7 times Elijah said, Do it again. The 7th time the assistant said, I see a small cloud the size of a human hand coming up from the sea. Elijah said, Go and tell Ahab, pull yourself together, go down the mountain, and don't let the rain hold you back. After a while, the sky became dark with clouds, and a wind came up with a huge rainstorm. Ahab was already riding on his way to Jezreel, but the Lord's power strengthened Elijah. He gathered up his clothes and ran in front of Ahab until he came to Jezreel. And I'm going to go ahead and stop there. We're almost done with 1 Kings. I pray that this was a blessing for someone. If you have any questions, prayers, comments, be sure to leave them down below. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the things. And if you have a prayer request that you're not comfortable sharing on the platform, my email address is in the description box, so you can send me an email and I will add you to my prayer journal. And that is it for today, guys. I pray that you all have an amazing day, be blessed, and be the reason someone smiles. Bye.